Alright, new video. We're back on the 2008 Ford Expedition. The rough idle came back. They threw a new code though. The new code was, I believe it was P201, which was the fuel injector. It was something wrong with the fuel injector, which was a new code. Before, it had always been a generic code for just a misfire. It's always been on cylinder 1 though. Having it at the dealership and hooked up to their computer, their power graph always showed cylinder 1 being weaker at low RPMs, mainly idle, and then it would kind of even out when you would rev it up. So we're gonna go ahead and get that fuel injector changed out, and well, hopefully that makes the difference. Here again is my 2008 King Ranch Expedition. This is what it looks like underneath here. Some of the Expeditions look a little different with like the air box, the air intake. F-150s look a little different too. Cylinder 1 is luckily the front cylinder here on the passenger side. So the fuel injector is right up underneath there. There's the fuel, the fuel line coming through, the housing for all of it, and right down here is the fuel injector. That's the front one. So we're just going to unbolt it and pull it up just enough to get that one off and put in the new one. I'm starting off with taking off this vacuum line, which comes right up here, and it just has a little clip right here that you push down. You can't really see it with my glove, but you push it down and then it pulls out. We'll get that out of the way first. I'm going to try to leave all these cooling lines that go for the heater cores, front and back. I'm going to try to leave all those and just see if I can access. I'm going to take off these two 8mm bolts, one there, one back there, and then unclip the wire harness right here, which it'll come off pretty easily as well. It's just, that's all it is, a little push clip. Came off pretty easy. Alright, so let me get those other two off, and we'll pull that fuel line. I put an old rag underneath there to try to catch some fuel, and I disconnected all of the wire harnesses for all of the fuel injectors on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a little bit of a pull, and they should just pull out. Alright. She's a very pretty girl, but in this, she looks like the prettiest girl in your high school. And that's pulled out of there. Now I'm gonna get two hands in there to get that off. Alright, it's out. That's the old one. Pretty dirty. That little metal clip goes on the top, and that just helps kind of hold it onto the fuel rail. Here's the new one. Comes with some plastic caps. There's the part number. This came directly from the dealer. They were the only ones that had the motorcraft that I could get around here. And from what I've been able to read and find, you gotta replace this stuff with the Ford parts. Both O-rings are still on here. You have to make sure that those are still on here. When we put the new one on, we'll take these caps off. We're gonna put some oil on the O-rings, clean oil. Now there's the bottom of the injector. Had a little screen freeze there. As you can see, this one's pretty dirty. I don't know, it just wasn't wasn't working out very well. So we'll get this little bit of oil on there, and we're gonna put a little oil on some of the older ones that also popped up in the process. Got a little bit of fuel out. Fuel only comes out when you disconnect the injector from the fuel rail. It doesn't come out from the bottom. But I also wanted to reiterate to make sure you blow a bunch of compressed air all around down inside there, so that when you pull out, you don't get a bunch of dirt that falls down in to where the fuel injector goes. So let's get that put back in there. Okay, I got them in there. Now we had a bit of an issue. When popping off the wire harnesses, 1 and 2, the little retainer clips broke. Here's a look at 3, and this is the retainer clip I'm talking about. That broke right out of the middle, so it wouldn't stay on. So, luckily there's an enclosed sleeve with those brackets that I could slip a zip tie through and just wrap it around the fuel injector. That'll just hold it in place. That should do just fine. Shouldn't be much of an issue. But anyway, we're going to fire it up and see if it made a difference. Alright, for those of you that know what I'm talking about, so I've got this thing idling right now. I just turned it on, so it's idling a little bit high, but it's smooth. No check engine lights. As you can see, I got 176,000 miles on this thing. Ever since about 160, I've been doing all kind of things having to do with the, actually more like 150, 155, having to do with the rough idle. But we're idling smooth. You can hear that part's smooth. We're gonna go for a drive in a minute. But mainly, that worked. Bad fuel injector. So, I mean, unless you get that code, you're not gonna know which fuel injector is bad. If it could be more than one. But luckily this time I got that code that let me know that it wasn't something else like the VCT or anything else with the timing, which I've already done the timing chain and all those parts associated with that, including the VCT solenoids on both sides, which I've done twice now, those VCT solenoids. Also, I've got new plugs and coil packs in there as well. I'll have to double check. When I was talking about the codes, I don't remember if it was 201 or 301, but whichever one of those gives you the, I'll put it in the description when I look again, but whichever one of those gives you the fuel injector fault, then of course the one in that code is cylinder 1, and it could be anywhere from 1 to 8. But I'm going to take it for a drive. Hopefully this helps you guys out, and if you're watching this video about rough idle on a 5.4 liter engine, then this should help you out, because if you're watching this video, you know there's a whole bunch of problems. So thanks again. Click subscribe if you'd like. Still running smooth.